Hey there friends and greetings. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alicia and today we'll be spending some time in my favorite place, the kitchen. So I actually have a few things to do on my list. The very first thing I want to start baking is my fresh strawberry sheet cake. So I made this quite recently and my recipe calls for using 3 ounces of strawberry jello, but I can never find like the smaller box. I can only find the larger 6-ounce box. So if I made it recently, it means that I have the rest of the jello remaining. So I do want to use that up. And this cake is actually going to be going to my husband's co-workers. So I think they're going to be very happy about this cake. It is so delicious. The other thing I'm going to be baking today is actually something for my freezer, and that is blueberry muffins. Normally I like to use fresh blueberries, but I am going to be using some frozen blueberries that I picked up from Costco not that long ago. But blueberry season is right around the corner, so make sure you pin that recipe for when fresh blueberries come up. But you can use either or, like I mentioned, frozen is just fine. And then a little bit later on, I'm gonna be prepping dinner tonight. I haven't made my chicken bacon ranch dinner in quite a while, so I thought tonight would be a great night to do that. So let's hang out together in my kitchen. So the first thing I actually need to do is make my buttermilk. I always make my own buttermilk. I know you can buy it at the store, but I feel like I always waste it. So by making your own, you're just gonna save yourself a ton of money, especially if you always have a white vinegar on hand. So I'm gonna need a half a cup, so I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of white vinegar into a measuring dish and then fill it up the rest of the way with just whole milk here up to the half cup line, and I'm gonna let that sour for like 5 minutes or so while I get everything else going. So I did bring you guys just a little bit closer here so we can see what's going on. I have my recipe printed out over here for reference. So in a bowl, I'm going to be adding in 2 sticks of softened butter. I just had these out for a couple hours. It's quite cold in our house, so it takes quite a while for it to soften up. So I'm just going to kind of beat this up just for a quick moment. And to this butter that I cut and beat just for a little bit, I'm gonna add the remaining portion of this strawberry jello. If you can find the 3 ounces, that's perfect. But like I mentioned, I can never find the 3 ounces. So this is the other half of that packet that I used when I made this cake last time. So I'm gonna add that along with my sugar. And then just give that a nice little stir. I ended up moving the mixture into a bigger bowl. I realized the other bowl was way too small. It was meant to be for my dry ingredients, so switched it out. But I'm going to mix all of this pretty well together. It's gonna look kind of like sand a little bit. And it smells phenomenal. It smells just like strawberries. And once that is pretty well incorporated, I'm gonna add in my 3 room temperature eggs. I put out a bunch of eggs this morning to come to room temperature so that I can also make my muffins as well. And I'm also going to add in my vanilla too. You guys know I hate to measure, but I got the measuring spoon out, and then give this a nice little stir. All right, now I'm gonna set this aside, and this is the bowl I had originally wanted to use my dry ingredients in. I just gave it a quick wash. I'm going to add in my flour, my baking powder, my baking soda. I do like a little bit of salt. And then I'm just gonna take a whisk and just whisk it all together, getting out like any lumps. All right, and then I'm gonna bring back in my wet ingredients, and I'm going to add in half of the flour and give that a mix. Then I'm gonna add in all of my buttermilk here and give that a mix. And then come in with the remaining flour. Once that is all mixed up, I'm gonna add in some strawberry puree, and I'm gonna show you how we do that. It is so simple, and you only need about 10 like large strawberries, I would say. So let's do that real quick. So I have about 10 strawberries in here that I'm gonna cut the tops off. I've given them a really good rinse already. And I'm gonna be using my little Ninja blender, but you can also use like a food processor or any other type of blender that you have. This goes really fast. So remember, depending on the size, you might need a little bit more, but these are fairly big. And in total, you'll need about, I would say, 3/4 of a cup, because you're gonna put some of this into the cake batter, and then the rest is gonna go on the delicious cream cheese frosting. Super easy. I don't have to add water or anything to that blender. It just blends really nicely. So we are going to add in 1/2 cup of this strawberry puree and then save the rest for the frosting. I'm gonna come in here with my prepared baking dish. This is a 9 by 13. And I do have my oven rack in the middle of the oven. I don't want it super high up so it gets a little too brown, because this is gonna be in here. It's gonna depend on how hot your oven gets, but I found sometimes 35 minutes is good, 38 minutes is good, but I'm gonna write in the recipe like between 35 to 40 minutes. You just gotta check it. Then just kind of smooth it out as best as you can. And into the oven it goes. It smells so good. All right, so this took about 38 minutes. Again, it all kind of depends on how your oven bakes. But now what I need to let it do is just sit and let it cool completely before we add the strawberry frosting right on the top. So while the cake is cooling, I'm gonna start working on my blueberry muffins. But first I wanted to show you guys these because I thought these were so cool. So on my blog, I have pictures of the muffins inside parchment paper. And I would just take parchment paper and cut little squares and use those as the cupcake liners. But I did not know that you could buy what are called tulip liners. And I'm so excited. I thought you would have to get these from like, I don't know, like a restaurant supply store or something. I got these from Amazon, just like this. So there are 100 in here. I'm really excited to use these. But look at this. This is what they look like. So they're already like molded. Now these are considered extra large. So I don't know how these are going to work in just a standard muffin tin, but that's what we're here to try today. Again, very excited, and I'm assuming that they will still freeze just as good as if I use regular parchment paper, because this is still parchment paper. But I just wanted to share that with you guys just to make life easier. I'm sure you all probably knew that. I just never thought about it before, but I'm gonna link them down below if you're interested. So let's start baking the blueberry muffins. So I left my oven rack in the middle of the oven where it was for the strawberry cake, but I did turn the heat up to 375. Now, per my instructions, I used to line the muffin tin with the parchment paper and then spray it. But because these are so tall, I really don't think I'm gonna need to do that. I'm gonna place these in here. Ooh, so I think we need to kind of squish them down a little bit, and then they'll fit right in there. Perfect. So I'm just gonna line these real fast. my cake is all done chilling. So now I'm gonna make the frosting. This stuff is so good. You'll just need half of a stick of softened cream cheese, half of a stick of softened butter, and I'm gonna beat this first. And to that, I'm gonna add in my vanilla. Now, I'm not gonna measure it, but I'm gonna add it in there, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna start off with 3 cups of powdered sugar. I'm gonna do just a little bit at a time so it doesn't get all over the place. I always tend to like stir it first before I start the hand mixer so it doesn't get too messy. Then add some more in here. Now I'm gonna add in some of that strawberry puree. So I mentioned that there should be a 1/4 cup left, and there's exactly a 1/4 cup left. I'm gonna probably just reserve like a couple tablespoons because I don't want it to be super runny. But if it does end up being really runny, then you can just add more powdered sugar. But it's getting really thick right now, which is why I'm adding that. And I'm gonna come in with more powdered sugar. Now I'm gonna come back in with just probably a little bit more of the puree. So really anywhere from a 1/4 cup to 1/8 of a cup of the puree. Oh, yum, that looks so good. The cake is nice and cooled down. So I'm just gonna layer on the frosting. I turned my camera off for a second because I got so scared. I saw a man in our backyard and I totally forgot that the bug guy was supposed to be coming today. So I turned the camera off real quick because I thought I was gonna have to go whoop some booty. Just the bug guy. Thank goodness. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway, so I'm putting this frosting on. That woke me up. I was like getting super tired and then all of a sudden I got wide awake. I love seeing the little flecks of strawberry in there just to show that there is some real strawberries in this recipe. All right, and that's it. I'm just gonna let this sit for a second before I cut into it.